Well, there's only one driver here that can win a record 5th Indianapolis 500. I joked with you at the end of race last year that all the graphics are still good. Drive for 5 is still alive. So you're back. What did you find out the first couple of hours about whether you're going to have a good chance this year or not?
Yeah, it's still alive, and we're going for it. No question about it. Everyone is really excited, including myself. Obviously, every time we come over here, there's always that little butterfly in the stomach going on, and a few laps we did this morning. We had a little bit of electronic issues with the car, but we'll resolve in the last 30 minutes. We're able to do some laps, which was great. But show good speed. IndyCar introduced, maybe you guys already talked about it, some bits in the car for this year. So this afternoon we're going to attack those to make sure that we know what is good, what's bad, or if it is everything related to the wind tunnel, it's actually accurate in the racetrack.
So I can't ask you yet what that's going to do and so forth. But one thing I found interesting over the years, normally the consensus is, all right, you add downforce, that gives you more stability, might slow you down. But I've heard drivers tell me before, when we trim, we don't necessarily get faster. How difficult is it to figure out which way to go at this place?
Well, remember, with the system and the way the car is right now, when you run in a pack, that's when you need the downforce. So when you actually run it by yourself, you might don't want the downforce. You want it to be a little bit different. So it's hard for the drivers and engineers sometimes to get in agreement, because depends how you get it. And you can never, in our situation, we can always go with some of the guys together, and then you can try those things. But again, those scenarios you can duplicate in the wind tunnel. And but in the end of the day, the driver still needs to be comfortable. Even whatever that guy said, this is good. Yeah. Well, for the other one, might be not.
All right, I see your car is here, your helmet is here, so it's time for you to get in. Yes, he did. David was very impressive in his maiden Indianapolis 500 last year, so back for year number 2. Still very early days, but what are you learning so far?
We're trying so many things, and I mean, we've been in the car, as much as we can. This is my first time out this afternoon. Just because of the weather, and coming in tomorrow, and obviously the wind now. But overall, we're testing a couple things right now. We're really struggling with tire degradation on that front left. I don't know if it's just because the track is green, but we also don't really have our proper oval car for the 500 ready, so it was kind of just the car that we're using. But overall, I think it was pretty good. It's just staying in traffic, and that tire is just, we're really struggling on trying to make it last compared to like these Penske cars.
Do you want to run again today? Is that the plan, to go in and make some changes and still come back?
Yeah, we're going to quickly look over some data, do a quick set down, and hopefully be back within 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you, David Malukas. We'll see him again here before we're done, Marty.
Yeah, let's chat with Scotty Mack before he climbs in the car. So talk to your teammates earlier. They felt very good about the single car speed. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I think we're okay. They got more experience than me, so if they're happy, I'm happy, because it's been a difficult first couple of years in the Indy 500 for me with Penske. So I'm excited for what's ahead for us in the month of May. A lot of preparation's gone on behind the scenes to make sure our Benzel Chevy's fast and Joseph and Will's car's fast as well. But yeah, it's awesome to be back. I tweeted it before. There's nothing like driving here. Like you drive out, the speeds, the feeling. You get back here and there's something new every time, and it's so cool.
Just your third year, you mentioned that, but a lot of drivers pick you as maybe a sneaky favorite in a couple of weeks. What do you feel about that?
Good, I hope so. No, I don't know. We're just going to keep. I know how quickly this race can get away from you, and also how quickly you can be off the pace. So, just a big, you're consistent. We're just focused, head down, and if we put ourselves in a position come the end of May, I'm ready to take it.
Your first 2 years, ovals seem to come pretty easily to you, right? But how different of a beast is the 500 as you were just talking about?
Yeah, it's so different. It's even between Texas and here, it's a whole different beast. And I'm sure Canapino's going through that, and all the other rookies as well. But it's a privilege to drive here. It really is. Drive for the captain. It's awesome, and yeah, I'm just having a blast, man.
What's the plan for the afternoon session with the 3 Penske cars?
Yeah, I'll just keep going through our plan, but I think maybe a traffic running now, and the wind's quite a fair way up, so it's very hard to get a consistent read on some single car running balances. But yeah, I think we're in a good spot. We're just got to keep working along our plan.
All right, thanks. Scott have to complete a refresher course, but he had to do that today. Is that kind of weird doing the refresher, actually having to slow yourself down?
I'm glad I passed, so now
Me too.
I'm official. I can race, so it was hard. I mean, I had to do a few extra laps because I was over the speed that they told me. They kept taking my laps away, so a little bit frustrating, but it's done. Great day to be back, man. I mean, you don't realize how bad you miss it until you really jump in the car, so I'm happy to be here.
I was going to ask you, what's that first moment like when you take a lap? Is it like, oh man, I wish I was in more races this year?
Oh, Marty, it's you think you miss it until you drive the car and you realize you really miss it. But my decision is made, so I might as well enjoy the next 40+ days and realize that that's an end of a great career, and that's it. It's going to be, from now on, it's going to be emotional every day for one way or the other. It's going to be emotional from drivers into through the checker flag, but I'm fine with it. I'm going to try to enjoy as much as I can. I mean, we ran great this morning as far as not having any issues. The whole crew is still getting together, working on the car, so we're not too worried about speeds right now. But yeah, it was for the first time probably I realized this is it.
Has that hit you yet, TK?
Yeah. It hits on and off, but yeah, today it hit pretty hard, so we'll see.
So what will you do the next 40 days? Will you take this time in, kind of wish time could slow down, or what's your process going to be emotionally?
Nah, I think I'm going to enjoy with my friends, my fans, and enjoy everything that I always thought sometimes was kind of a pain. Talking to you guys in the middle of qualifying is a pain, or doing an extra appearance. I think I'm just going to take it in, try to enjoy in a different prospect as far as not just about the race, because this is it. So I might as well, some of the things that are going to happen this month, even though if I come back here next year just to watch, are not going to be the same. So I'll try to enjoy everything.
You and I had this conversation a few weeks ago. We were talking about what might be that moment where it all hits, and you mentioned driver introductions as that moment that you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through that as my final one.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's when I'm really, I mean, on and off, people approaching me saying, hey, great career, it's sad to see you go, blah, blah, blah. But when I get up there, and I'm not bragging, you guys know how this place makes me feel. And these people are probably going to cheer even louder than they do because it's my last one. I think I'm going to lose it for sure.
Let's talk about the work stuff and not all the emotional stuff. I don't think people realize I'm sitting up in the transporter having a conversation with Palou last week, and you're in there, you're in the middle of all of it. How much have you been involved with Mclaughlin just from the business side this year?
Since we signed last year, obviously we have Robbie that does an awesome job for us as far as the data. I float around trying to, I was more trying to learn the way they work so I can use at my 500, but then it became, I do a lot of the sponsor stuff for them, entertaining the guys. I mean, I think they're having fun, I'm having fun. I keep it busy, I get to go to the races, so I'm fully involved, and I'm enjoying it a lot. This other part of whatever, if I can even call it a job, but yeah, I've been trying to help the team as much as I can with sometimes just a little question or a little opinion about this is the way I did last year or this is the way we did last year, because I was in another team for all the races too with Jimmy. So yeah, hopefully they will keep me around so Lauren doesn't kick me out of the house.
What's the plan for the rest of the day for the entire group here?
So we just did the 2 hours required, so we went back to the setup pad now. We're making a couple of changes. We'll come out and run as much as I can because doesn't look like we're running tomorrow, so we're going to try to put as many laps as we can today.
All right, Diff, I tried to get him focused on some work stuff there, but you can tell the emotion already there for TK, and we had that conversation. He said, one thing I'm really interested to see how I make it through is that final driver introduction. You know the fans are going to go bananas. Out of the number 28 Andretti Autosport car, I saw you give an okay to one of your crew members, but what can you learn with wind that's picking up as much as it's picking up, Romain?
Yeah, it's a tough day for sure. conditions. We should be kite surfing, not driving cars at 230 miles an hour.
That'd be more fun, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we learned that this morning. We struggled with the car. I don't know what was happening. We made a few changes, and it's come back to us. So at least now I know after Texas and last year, I know what I need on ovals. So that helps us a lot. But definitely a bit of a slow start, but we're getting there.
So with this win, will you maybe call it quits for the afternoon or wait and see what happens?
We may try one more change on the car. Come back out here, see what the wind does for us, and decide from there.
From when you first came here, did you ever think you would love ovals and appreciate them as much as you do now?
It's definitely a fun racing part. It is very different, it's very challenging. You know, I still remember being home and thinking, oh, this is easy flat. It's slightly different from the car. So it is a challenge, it's good racing. It's part of the championship, and that's the beauty of IndyCar. We need to be good on street course, road course, and ovals, and speedways.
I know the finish at Texas wasn't what you wanted, but how much confidence did running too wide at Texas give you, just period, on ovals?
Yeah, I think leading at Texas was probably one of the highlights of the season. When I took the race lead, I was like, oh, I'm actually leading an oval here on merit. So it was good. I think I'm learning more and more what the car needs to do. Olivier has been really good on the setup, and I think we've really unlocked something that was blocked last year, and that now gives us the freedom of going fast.
Finishing second last week, do you just feel like with this, the performance has been so much better this year, that the win will come eventually?
Yeah, I think the win was there in St. Pete. Then we had a good finish in Texas. P2 in Long Beach. I'm excited to see what we're going to do in Barber, which is a road course. And from there, if we're fast, definitely going to be a good car everywhere.
No question about it, Diff. They've had the speed this year. They've shown that. And even on the ovals, who would have thought that for Romain Grosjean when he first came in?
Good to hear. Christian Lundgaard, we're talking about car colors down here, so drivers are just like us trying to identify the different colors, and you got all the pink AutoNation cars that look pretty similar. How do you tell who is what, and how important is that to know who's in what car when you're on track?
I don't know. I'm being told. You know, that's what the spotters are for. It is pretty difficult to see who's who. I mean, we even had an occasion this morning where Graham ended up coming out in front of us when we were doing sort of a Q-sim, which was a little annoying. But there was 5 minutes left of the session, so, you know, you got to get on track.
So year number 2 for you. You're still just 21 years old, but you got a year's experience at the most different kind of race you've ever done. You ran all 200 laps. How much more comfortable do you feel in year 2?
I mean, quite honestly, right now I feel pretty good in the car. I would say it's always difficult to get straight into the car here at the Speedway. But I feel like I've been quite comfortable straight away. Looking at our performance in Texas, I think we're a lot stronger now here so far, so that's competitive and that's good. But that's also what we're aiming for, so we got to keep digging. At this point, we're trying to communicate all the different changes we're making to make the most progress possible.
That's what I wonder. There are changes with the cars this year. You have more downforce options. How far have you gotten through that to see what it does, whether it makes it better or worse?
I mean, a lot of preparation goes into this test. Obviously, we sort of know which range of downforce to be in. But what I always find interesting is looking up and down the grid. Who's different and who's running what, how they make it work. And obviously, that's things that we discuss as well. I mean, how do they make this work? Why can't we? And vice versa. So it's always this intern battle down the pit lane. But we got to focus on ourselves. I think we're on an upward slope right now.
Is this win tricky? Is it potentially catching people out?
I think if we would have had boost today, we might have seen something, some interesting moves out there. But right now, it isn't really that bad. And I would also say it's become worse since I jumped out of the car. So I'm not looking that much forward to going out now, but obviously I'm excited about it.
From second to second, it always changes. Feels calm, and then all of a sudden you feel a big gust. Thank you, Christian Lundgaard, out of the Hy-Vee car for Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. Marty.
Alex Palou out of his car, just single car runs for you. How tough is it to kind of determine what's going on with how crazy this wind is?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit worse than this morning and worse than we would like, but it's the same for everybody. So we might have this on the race. So just getting a feel, it's great to be back here at the IMS. And yeah, hopefully we can get some traffic run during this afternoon.
How much has the program been about just learning the different options with downforce and what you can do when you do single car runs?
Yeah, I mean, the engineers just came up with this massive list of things they want to try and set up, and I don't think we have enough time to make that happen. But yeah, we're just going through a large list of things to see what's best. Basically, the largest things. We have more aero stuff, new stuff that we didn't have last year. So yeah, just getting the feel for this new stuff, and hopefully we can get our preferred for the Sunday when it's a race.
You came here as a rookie, qualified up front immediately, then almost won it in your second year. How did you get so comfortable with this track immediately?
I don't know. I love it. I love driving here. I love the racing here. Racing here is awesome. It's a mental game as much of just a driving game. But yeah, I know. I guess I had good cars as well. That helps here. And it's great that we can have so much practice here. Like we have 2 days of open test, and normally we have like that week before qualifying. So I think everything helps. I love this place. So yeah.
When it's a mental game, is that to your advantage, you feel like?
I don't know. I think so, but who knows that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt, right? I mean, because it is like the 500 is way different than any other oval race, right? It's like 9 different little races.
Yeah, it is. It's the longest we have. Most pit stops, different strategies. If something goes wrong, you're basically done, and you have to wait a full year for that. So there's added pressure for everybody. Lots of people here. It's a great event, so that's why it makes it so special when you win it. So yeah, hopefully sometime soon.
All right, Alex Palou done with his single car. Yeah, let's chat with Alexander out of the race car. So how was your session so far? Were you making single car runs or group running there?
Yeah, just single car stuff. You know, IndyCar brought a lot of new kind of aero components, so we're trying to validate all that with the data that we have from the tunnel and stuff. So it's been very productive so far, and happy with where we're at.
You were one of the guys who were saying we need more downforce at the speedway. What will the racing look like with that extra downforce, you think, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since kind of the introduction of the aero screen, which is obviously a good thing for safety, you know, we saw it was a little bit more difficult. If you were behind, if you were any farther back than kind of third or fourth, and, you know, the solution to that is more downforce. You know, Texas is a perfect example. Earlier this year, we came there with more downforce. We know what show we had there. It was phenomenal, right? So I think that, you know, this is our flagship race. It's important to focus on the overall product that we have, and it's been great the past couple of years. It's just, I feel like it took a little bit of a step down, and we're getting back to where it should be.
You and I had this conversation a few weeks ago about the extra downforce. Where do you want to be? 2 to 3 to go, coming to the checkered flag for the 500.
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
on air, right?
Because all these people listen to Peacock, right? No, but I don't know. I think it'll certainly change the game a little bit. You know, I think we've certainly seen the past couple of years you want to, like, get out front and try and stay there for most of the last stint if you can. I don't think that it'll necessarily be like that. And I hope we get back to, you know, one of my favorite Indy 500s was Hunter Ray's win, and, you know, last corner, last lap pass for the lead. So there's somewhere in the middle that hopefully we'll end up on.
Interviewed Tony Kanaan a moment ago. I've seen him on every timing stand since we interviewed him, and he just had a conversation with you. What kind of asset is he to the organization, period, at a place like this?
Yeah, I mean, he's been an asset for us this year outside of the car. Like, he hasn't even been in the car. And obviously, it's still, like, he hasn't really driven much today, but what he brings from not only a knowledge experience standpoint, but, like, he's so good at being almost a people person, right? And helping build relationships, especially with so many new people and new faces on the team. Like, he's kind of that conduit to help bring the team together and just help everyone work together and get to know each other. So he's been instrumental so far, and it's only 3 races in, so can't wait to work with him for the entire month.
Playing this afternoon, some group running with the team?
Oh yeah, we'll get out there and play.
There you go. So they'll be out there playing, as he said.
Ferrucci sure does, including a 4th, a 6th, a 7th, a 10th, up for his 5th Indianapolis 500. He's been awesome and entertaining here. First, let's go back to Long Beach last week. Really good result for the team that's still growing with an 11th-place run.
Yeah, you know, we struggled all weekend long. We started the first practice a little over 2 seconds off, and to just end up getting there in the race, fighting for a top 10, fighting with a Penske car to try and get in that top 10 was pretty awesome. So, yeah, now we're here at the open test, so can't complain.
So tell me what you've learned so far. How has it been out on track?
Oh, I've been pretty scared. We have not exactly started our day off nicely. I've just been incredibly loose, especially with the super windy conditions. We're trying to walk through the car a little bit to understand what's going on, and we think we have a good grip as to what happened. So we're going to roll back out and give it another shot. And yeah, no, it'd be nice to not feel like I'm sliding in 3 corners.
So that maybe adds into the importance and the significance of doing this like 3 weeks before practice starts, because if, say, this happens on Tuesday and then it were to rain, then you can get really far behind. So maybe that's one of the answers. We wonder why we do this ahead of the official start of the month.
I'm glad we do it, put it that way. This saves us at least a whole day of testing and development. It's just one of those things where it's really tough to tell what you have. Our program's so new, especially with Mclaughlin being here and everything. Like, everything to us is like so different, and we're just trying to learn and keep up. And we're trying to move our damper program as ahead as possible, or as far along and as fast as possible. And sometimes you throw a couple knives in the dark and see what you get. And hey, we're gonna sort it out, so I'm not worried about it.
So when you've been out and it's less than comfortable, the next time after they've made changes to try to address that, how do you approach those first few laps? You say tiptoeing, but you're going 215 to 220. That is not tiptoeing.
No. Well, you just go out flat again. It'll stick. It's just whether it's comfortable or not. So it's one of those things where, like, I've probably done no more than a 2-lap run. So, and if I don't like the car on the apron coming out of the pits, I normally know I'm not going to do more than a lap. So one of those things. But I mean, imagine what we did with Long Beach, starting 2.2 seconds off, finishing where we did. Now you're going to give us these 2 test days and a whole week going into the 500, so we're going to be a threat for sure.
AJ Foyt Racing has traditionally, Jack is now back for his 7th Indianapolis 500, still a very young man, so that's a great deal. Yes, still a very young man. So you've had a little bit of time out on the track. How is it so far?
I mean, probably like you've heard a few people say today, it's pretty windy, decent amount of gusts, which honestly you can just kind of make the balance a little bit unpredictable, if you want to say that. But I think we've had a reasonably productive day on the number 30 people ready car, so we spent a little bit of time just trying to work through some not qualifying progressions, but just some qualifying philosophies, and then hopefully spend the next 2 hours and 40 minutes, I guess, in the kind of just getting some ideas for the race car. And honestly, at this point of the month, just trying to dot the I's, cross the T's, so that when we actually come back for the month of May, hopefully we've just ironed out a direction we want to go down.
It's amazing how much things change from year to year. 2 years ago, Graham Rahal had as good a car as anybody in your stable. Last year, Team White, it wasn't awesome. Penske has had their struggles in the last few years. What makes you feel a little more confident? What might you have learned from last year to this year to help the whole program?
Oh man, hopefully a lot. I think, as a team, I think we all did some soul searching after, not last season on the whole, but on the super speedways. And, obviously going to Texas, we didn't seem to find anything too drastic. But the thing is, it's a group of really smart people. There's some really talented people in the RLL engineering room. And at the end of the day, it's on to us to try and figure out what it is we're missing. And I would say, if you'd have asked me what have I learned in my, Indy 500 starts up to this month, across a month, and how they all play out, staying calm, maybe number one. But number two also is marginal gains. It's a lot of small things that really accumulate here. And you mentioned it, I don't know if we were on air at this point, but there's been some struggles for people. Some great teams have struggled here. It's because it's it's the most amazing, unusual place that we, get the privilege of coming to, and we just got to work through it methodically, try and find the small bits when we can, and put it together when it counts.
And I think you hit on a good point. When we go to another weekend, if it doesn't start well, it's unlikely to get better. There's just no time. So is maybe that the biggest thing? Don't panic. Let's do little changes.
Well, I think that's every race on the IndyCar series right now. It's there's so short a weekend. The unloading and just being confident and being able to stay calm is such an advantage, I think, throughout the remainder of the weekend. So I think for us right now, everything seems to be just ticking away decent. I wouldn't say it's great, I wouldn't say it's awful. So if we can try and stay in that mindset and just trend towards the good, then we should be okay.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we're just walking back down pit lane to Gasoline Alley, taking a little break right now. 5 Indy 500s by the time we're done in the next month or so, and still just 23 years old. Back out today. How has it been so far?
Windy. I'm sure that's what everybody's been talking about, but feel good. Car feels good. This is more just about getting comfortable and getting ready for the month of May, making sure the seat belts fit perfectly. You know, you're happy in how you're sitting in the car, and then maybe work some through some of the new items that we have, maybe some more of the downforce options. But it's tough. It's tough in this wind. We're gonna go take a chill pill right now, go hang out for a little bit. Because it's getting a little too hairy for what we want to do. Seeing gusts up to 30, 35 miles an hour, which I guess Hinch can comment on what that's like. It's not that much fun.
And Romain, your teammate, said the same thing. It's almost to the point where we're not sure at this point. Is the risk worth the reward if it stays this windy? Will you at least try it one more time? Or might you say, you know what, there's another day?
We'll try. If it dies down, which I think it's supposed to later in the day, so we'll be around. We'll still be here, and we obviously want to run as much as we can. But you know, unfortunately, Mother Nature isn't permitting that at the moment.
With a chance of rain tomorrow, does that add to the urgency at all, or have you gotten a decent amount done already today?
Yeah, there's really no expectations for this test. You know, we could run one lap or we could run, 500. So it doesn't really matter how much we get done. We're happy to just be out here and get comfortable. Everybody working out here again, and then May's not too far away, so we're excited for it.
All right. One of my favorite parts of this day is to talk to young drivers realizing a dream. We've talked to a few already, including young American Stingray Robb, who has now completed laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway preparing for the Indianapolis 500. What was that like?
Oh, it's awesome. Running around the yard of bricks is something else. I've been here on the road course a few times, but first time turning left around here. So having a good day so far. Got the ROP out of the way this morning, and now we're just working on the car, trying to run it in traffic. Super speedways are a different animal. You get in traffic around this place, half a straightaway away, and the cars in front of you are punching a hole in the air.
Let's chat with Felix Rosenqvist. You and I were just talking about the mind games the wind plays with you. What is that like?
Yeah, it's one of those days where, 1 second you have, like now the wind is completely still. And a couple of minutes ago here, the whole stand was about to blow down, and it's tricky when you're out there because you don't really know that. I mean, you know what direction the wind is, but you can't really know the intensity. So one lap you have a bit of oversteer, next lap you have understeer. So it's, I think you just kind of have to ignore most of it and focus on what you can control. And we have a good base, and it feels pretty good. It's just one of those days where you have to not get too clever.
You've gotten to run some in traffic. How does that extra downforce feel to you? Do you feel like it's easier to follow cars in front of you now?
I would say at this point probably the same as last year. I mean, we're not, people are not running as hard yet as in the race, so it's kind of hard to know. I feel like every time someone gets to the front, they kind of back off, and it's not really an aggressive pack. But I think the last half an hour will probably be a good idea of what it's going to be. But yeah, fairly similar to last year, I'd say.
All right, it's been a busy day for Felix Rosenqvist. We're going to let him go chat with the team, Kevin.